You don't talk every day anymore. The group chats are quieter. Birthdays come and go, sometimes with a late message, sometimes with none. You see old friends in photos, not in person. And you start to ask yourself, what happened to us? Did we just move on? Or did I do something wrong? Here's the truth most people don't say out loud. 95% of people lose touch with their school friends by the time they reach 30. Not because of drama, not because of hate, but because of life. And yet, even though it's normal, it still hurts. This is the story of why it happens, how to make peace with it, and how to carry what mattered, even after it's gone. Part 1. Why school friendships feel so deep. Think about it. Your school friends were there for the firsts. First crush, first heartbreak, first fight with your parents, first time you skipped a class, first late-night phone call where you talked about life like you had it all figured out. They knew you when you didn't have a filter, when you were just raw, unshaped, innocent. That kind of connection runs deep. Not because of what you did together, but because of who you were when you did it. And that version of you is gone. Which is where the separation begins. Part 2. Time starts to divide you. In school, your lives ran parallel. Same routines, same holidays, same jokes, same problems. You had time to talk every day, to meet without planning, to be part of each other's every moment. But after your 20s, life starts pulling in different directions. Someone moves for college. Someone starts working early. Someone gets married. Someone has kids. Someone disappears into a new relationship. Someone changes. You go from texting daily to sending a long time no see message once a year, not because you don't care, but because you're no longer walking the same path. Part 3. You change, and so do they. Here's something no one tells you. Sometimes the person you were back then was held together by the friendships you had. You were more open, more reactive, more uncertain, more dependent. Your school friends saw that version of you and accepted it. But as you evolve, through therapy, heartbreak, solitude, career shifts, you start becoming someone else. Your priorities shift, your beliefs deepen, you stop tolerating certain jokes, you develop new values, you realize who you were wasn't who you really are. But the friendship was built on the old you, and sometimes the friendship doesn't grow with you. So what do you do when the people who once felt like home now feel like a past life? Part 4. The slow fade. You don't have a falling out, you just stop reaching out. They stop asking how you are. You see them online but don't engage. They plan a get-together and you quietly hope it gets cancelled. You tell yourself, we're just busy. Life happens. It's normal. And all of that is true. But so is this. You miss the connection. You miss how easy it used to feel. You miss being seen without explanation. That's the part no one talks about. How lonely growing apart can be, even when you know it's inevitable. Part 5. The guilt and questioning. At 30, you look back and wonder, did I let go too soon? Was I selfish for not reaching out more? Am I a bad friend? But here's the truth. Friendship is not about holding on to the past. It's about being present with who you are now and making space for what aligns with that. Sometimes the friendship fades, not because either of you failed, but because the version of you both it was built on no longer exists. And that doesn't mean it wasn't real. It just means it had its time. Let that be enough. Part 6. When you reconnect, and it's not the same. Maybe one day you meet them again. You grab coffee, talk about old times, smile, laugh, catch up. But there's a silence afterward you didn't expect. It was nice. But it wasn't real anymore. The rhythm is off. The connection feels polite. The spark is gone. You realize you didn't miss them. You missed who you both were, back when life was simpler. And it hits you. That friendship didn't break. It just stayed frozen in a time that no longer exists. Part 7. How to make peace with it. You don't need to chase lost friendships, but you do need to honor what they gave you. So how do you move forward? 1. Acknowledge the grief. It's okay to miss what was. It's okay to feel sad. You can mourn a friendship without blaming anyone. 2. Release the role you played. Maybe you were the funny one, or the emotional one, or the listener. And now you're different. Let yourself outgrow the version of you they remember. You don't have to fit back into that mold to reconnect. 3. Create space for new connection. You're not supposed to have 20 lifelong best friends. You just need a few that match who you are now. And they exist. But first, you have to stop keeping your energy tied to relationships that only exist in memory. 4. Send gratitude, even without a message. You can close a chapter without a grand goodbye. Just sit in silence one day and say, "Thank you for being there. Thank you for helping me become who I am. And thank you for letting me go." Sometimes love is letting go without anger. Part 8. What remains even when the friendship fades? The impact doesn't. The version of you that laughed with them, that cried with them, that made it through the hardest years with them by your side, they'll always live in your nervous system, in your photos, in your stories. You don't have to erase them to evolve. You just have to stop holding your current self hostage to a connection that was meant to be temporary. Let the memory be sacred, and let your present be free. Conclusion. You didn't fail, you just grew. And most people will lose 95% of their school friends by 30, not because they don't care, but because they finally become who they truly are. And that journey often requires solitude. So if you're feeling that quiet grief, you're not alone. You're just transitioning from familiarity to authenticity. And even though that path is lonelier at first, it leads to friendships that see all of you, not just the version you were at 17. If this spoke to you, take a moment to pause. Breathe. Share this with someone who's been wondering why everything feels different lately. And remind yourself, some people helped you build your roots. Others will meet you in your bloom. Both are sacred. But you are allowed to grow beyond the past.